Hey YouTube. All right. How's everybody been? It has been a while, maybe 6 months at this point to be exact. I'm not quite sure how many months because I ain't counting, but I hope everybody's been well. Um, I hope the new year has brought you many things. It's going to be prosperous for you. And, 2019 was a B. Y'all know. I'm trying not to cuss because, the kids be watching this. But 2019 was the worst year. No. Let me not even say that. 2019 was one of the best years of my life wrapped up in my worst nightmare. So I'm sure a lot of you have been wondering where the heck have I been? Um, and I've been gone. Oh, I don't feel like crying. Oh, by the way, I'm not editing this video because I'm not going back to listen to myself talk about this. Not doing it. So when I pause, please forgive me. I'm going to try my best not to ramble like I'm doing now, but here we are. Um, so in July, my dad passed away. Woo! It has been a roller coaster since that week. I don't know how I'm here. I don't know how I'm still going. But I'm here. I'm standing. I'm alive. And I meant to get tissues, of course. Of course, I didn't give myself tissues, but whatever. Um, and I'm well. I'm healthy for the most part, but I'm healthy. I'm blessed. I have a roof over my head. I don't have any wants, but there's a hole in my heart. There is a hole in my heart, and it's with me every day because my dad's not here. I was not going to make this video. I was so reluctant to making this video, and I said, no, I'm not doing it. And I was like, I'm just going to be gone for a long time. But what I realized is that my journey and, you know, the person that I am, the brand that I have is rooted in honesty and transparency. Transparency. I don't know, y'all. I don't know what's going on with my vocabulary right now, but y'all just roll with it. Okay, God knows my heart. Y'all know, I'm smart. So we'll just let me pass if I mess up. Um, so I knew that I couldn't come back to YouTube and give quality content and be able to be myself if I didn't address this. And I didn't feel like talking about it. When you're grieving, it's a roller coaster, and you have to allow it. There are peaks, there are hills, there are valleys, and the valleys are low. The depths of the valleys are so low, and they can be so frustrating, and they can feel lonely, and they can be agonizing with pain. And I felt a lot of that. I felt helpless. Um, and a lot of it is disbelief. I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm having this conversation. But such is life, and this is me, and this is my reality. So, you have to push through. And like I was really excited. I was like, I can finally get back and I can do all the things that I wanted, but I don't know. Some days I'm good. today I woke up really good. And then I realized I had to make this video, and then I wasn't. I wasn't good at all. And it's hard because I know my dad would be really upset, especially if he like knew I was making this video and I was sitting here crying because he couldn't deal with it. Like, you know, cut the tears out. Yeah, he knew I was like super sensitive, so he let me rock. But it's sometimes you just can't explain it. It comes out of nowhere, and you'll be good, and then it smacks you and you're not. So, I figured I'd tell this story and just give my insight as to this grieving process that I've been going through, mourning, and, you know, just really trying to get through, and how I got through. So, if you watch my video from the 6 months that I've had in LA, alright, look, I'm just gonna grab this t-shirt because I'm crying too much. And this is the only thing that's close. I got a tissue, but it's across the room. But, I moved to LA in December of 2017? Yeah. Wait, no, 2018. I don't know what year it is anymore. But 2018, December 18th, I moved to LA. And before I moved to LA, my dad caught pneumonia. And it scared me. It scared the shit out of me. And I was like, oh, you know, I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel comfortable at all. And not only that, my parents were moving. That's another story, and I won't get into it, but, you know, I'll talk about that more. But my parents were moving in the dead of winter. But I was moving across the country before they got a chance to move out. And I had a conversation with my dad before I moved. And I was telling him just how I felt guilty for leaving. He was like, you know, Desiree, I don't even know why you're still here. He was like, you can always go and come back. You know, if it doesn't work out. He was like, home will always be home. He was like, but I don't know why you're still here. And when he said that to me, it was the most freeing thing. Because I felt guilty. I felt guilty for wanting more, but also feeling like I had to leave my family behind. And like, I knew they would be okay, but just feeling like I had to leave them behind. Yo, I lied to you. I have not cried this much in so long. You know, I can't believe I'm crying like this, but whatever. I cry. I'm a crier. I haven't always been, but I'm a crier. So, I moved to LA, and as I talked about before, I went through a breakup. I, you know, ended a friendship, which was very difficult. And my dad was sick. So, the week of my sister's birthday, my dad went into the hospital. I stayed there with him for a week. Maybe a little longer than a week. And it just so happened that I was planned to be home for my sister's birthday. Her birthday is March 8th. So the week of the 8th, I was in a hospital with my dad. When I got there, he was on a respirator. That's what it is. Respirator, ventilator, so many names for it. And he couldn't talk. He was aware of what was going on. Eyes weren't open, but I immediately went into Desiree mode. So I'm like, you know, talking to doctors, talking to nurses. I'm there, you know, for extended periods of time. I'm talking, because the hospital my dad was in, honestly, it's one of those hospitals. It's a county hospital. So when you have the county hospital, you have to be very mindful of your loved ones in county hospitals. And here's why. It's not to say that their staff is not knowledgeable. It's not to say that they aren't capable. What it is to say is they are usually understaffed for the amount of people that they have in the beds. The one-on-one care is not as extensive as it is in other places, specialty hospitals, and so on and so forth. So, what I knew was in order for my dad to get out of those doors in a healthy place, we needed to be there around clock. So, I had my mom, I had my sister with me, and we, were there. There was one time period where my mom and my sister just literally like couldn't, because it takes a toll on you emotionally. Like, let's be honest. If you have a loved one who is sick or they're dying, you watching them in that state takes a toll on you mentally, emotionally. Like, it drains you. And it's the hardest thing ever. I'm built different. And I knew that about myself, which is why, in a way, I sacrificed my feelings at the moment, because I knew that I could. I'd break down later, but I'd be fine. So, there were days I spent there for 24 hours. We were getting on those nurses' nerves. We would get on the doctor's nerves. But I don't care. I don't care. This is my dad. I get one of those. That's it. I don't get more dads. And I had to talk with my dad's doctor. He came in. He was frustrated with us. I don't care. And I said to him, I said, listen, I don't want you to feel like we don't trust you or we're trying to undermine what you're doing. But what I do want to let you know is that this is it. I get one of these. I get one dad. He's all I got. And he's not only special to me, he's special to my mom, he's special to my sister. And they were sitting right there. And I'm like, look, we trust you in your judgment. But we just need to know that we're all on the same team. And that you're going to do your damnedest to get my dad out of here. And well, being there, being an assistant to the nurses, we were able to get my dad out of there. He had to go to a rehabilitation center to get his strength back, which he was not happy about. But, I was back in California at that point. I had gotten fired from the job that it's funny now, but it wasn't funny then. But I got fired because of the time I was out. And then when I got back, I got sick and I called out. So they were ready to let me go, which in hindsight is a blessing, because down the road I was needed again. So while my dad was in the rehabilitation center, I would talk to him on the phone, and I gotta go back. Sorry guys, I gotta go back. So when my dad was in the hospital, I called over there early in the morning to check in on him to see how he did overnight. They told me he did such a good job. He had a good night. He was breathing well. His vitals were stable. Everything. Perfect. Yay! And the lady goes, but we have another lady here who knows your father. I said, what? What you mean there's a lady there that knows my dad? Who is this lady? Who is this woman? Oh, who is this woman you talking about? And it just so happens that my aunt, Geneva, my dad's older sister, was also in the hospital on the opposite side of the floor from my dad. So not only were we being faced with my dad being sick, my aunt was on the opposite side, and my dad was her power of attorney. So that took my dad, he was on a respirator. Okay? Let's just put this into perspective. He's on a breathing machine. Does not know that his sister is in the hospital across from him in the ICU. So now I'm being faced with that. My mom and my sister also had to be faced with that. But again, they just can't deal with the things the way that I can. And there's nothing against them, because we all have our own strengths. There were times where my sister would come in clutch and I couldn't. There were times when my mom would come in clutch and I couldn't, because you got to know your strengths when it comes to this kind of stuff. You got to know what you're good at, because if you don't, it's going to be an issue later on down the line. So we pulled in on our strengths. So now I'm making decisions because I become the next of kin. Okay? I'm my father's blood child and my aunt's next of kin when it comes to blood. Her daughter had passed away years ago. So now it's me. And I'm going back and forth, and I'm talking to the doctor, trying to make sure my aunt is situated. And fast forward, now my dad is in the rehabilitation center, getting his life together, getting stronger. He's eating. He's gaining weight again. Yeah! Go daddy, go daddy, go daddy. Right? So we're so proud of him. He gets a phone call that my aunt Geneva had passed away. That really changed things for my dad. It really hurt his heart because he was responsible for her. And, you know, out of all the siblings, my dad was the baby. So he was the most able, he was able to function. Now, I forgot to say this part. My dad was 82. Okay? So he's the baby taking care of another sibling at 82. And my aunt is, you know, the nursing home that she was in called my father, well, called my mom to let her know, to let my dad know. So, you know, I think that really hurt him. So once he got home, because by then he had been done, he was tired of it. He got home, and I came home to visit. No, sorry, that was gross. For most of you, you saw me flying back and forth. You're like, you're in Jersey again? You're in Jersey again? This is why. I was back and forth, you know, doing the bi-coastal thing that I didn't anticipate in that way, but here we are on bi-coastal. So my aunt passed away. My dad's making funeral arrangements. I'm trying to help, you know, but also tell him to be nice because he had a little attitude at times. You know, when you get older, you get attitude. I don't know what it is, but whatever. So talking to him, when I left, my dad was outside on their deck and doing push-ups. Okay, he was showing off. I was speaking on his behalf to his nurses, getting him comfortable, and he didn't really need a nurse at that point. Well, fast forward, you know, a few months later, he couldn't talk long on the phone. Um, his sarcoidosis, now we know, was really playing a part and taking a toll on his breathing. And he had the what's that thing called? The breathing machine, nebulizer. He had the nebulizer, and it seemed like he was good, but I could tell his energy was lower, and so on and so forth. So mid-July, my uncle Lamar passes away. That is my mom's brother. He passes away. He had been sick for a while, so you know we had time to make our peace with that, and understand that that could be coming. So when it happened, of course, everyone's sad, but we knew it was an option. And I had to book a flight home because this is his funeral. It's my uncle. That was, oh my God, my Uncle Lamar, y'all. He was such a character. And, you know, I miss him every day. He was like, you know, my father on my mom's side. You know, he took that leadership role when it came to everyone in the family. And he saw himself as the protector because he was the only boy, one of 7 kids. He was the only boy. So I was already planned to be home. Now, I was going to book my flight for Monday. And I was like, no. I was like, maybe you should. And I was like, no, I'll book it for Tuesday. I am so happy that I listened to my gut because I got there 2 days earlier than my uncle's funeral. But I just felt like I wanted time to relax and whatever. Monday, I get a phone call. My dad had to go to the emergency room. He was having difficulty breathing. Okay, cool. I can hear him talking to my mom in the background. Fine. And then Tuesday, I call. Something says call the hospital. I called the hospital and he was in a regular room from what I knew. Well, I called them. They told me he had been moved to the ICU. Not only was he in the ICU, they upped his oxygen intake. The doctor was unable to get in touch with my mom. My mom was sleeping at the time. Her phone was on silent. So she was like thankful that I called and trying to get information for me. So I called my mom, like, Mom, you need to get back over to the hospital, so on and so forth. And I'm like, I just gotta get home. So I get home. I get to the airport. I was already scheduled to fly out that day. I get on the plane. Brandon's like, okay, I'm gonna get there. I'm into, go mode, go time. I'll get there. I'll fix it. That was my initial thought. Like, I'll fix it. I'll make it better. Like, whatever I gotta do. If I gotta sit in the hospital for another week, like, fine. I land. I had maybe 20 text messages on my phone. I had no idea what was going on. I thought my dad died. And it turns out that my dad didn't die. But I called my sister because, I was like, what is going on? And she was like, look, Daddy had the option to choose between getting a surgery or not getting the surgery. And that's where we are. He had to make that decision. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, I can't remember this part, y'all. I can't remember this part. Because when these things happen, they happen so fast. So sometimes you know what's going on and sometimes you don't. But I just remember being like, okay, that's it. But it took so long. Everything was taking long. The flight, like the plane, we didn't have a gate to go to. So we had to pull out of the one area we were and go to another. Then it took forever for people to get off of the plane. Once we got off the plane, it took forever for my bags to get there. So my uncle picked me up. I'm talking to my uncle and I'm like, hey, talking to my Uncle Frank. He's the man. Shout out to Uncle Frank. I was like, Uncle Frank, I'm gonna go, and I was like, I'm just gonna talk to my dad. I was like, everything that's going on. He was like, well, what's going on? And bless his heart, because what I realize now is that, from what I gather, my mom said Uncle Frank knew, but he just didn't want to tell me. So I get to the hospital. My sister comes down off of the. No. I'm going up. My sister's coming down the hallway, and she's melting. And I could not figure out what's going on. Still, my brain didn't understand. She's like, you need to go see Daddy. I'm like, okay, like, whatever. I start walking down the hall, and I'm ready. I'm in Desiree mode, like, about to go get it done. I don't know what that song was, but we won't let it rock. And my aunts are all there. And this is new, right? Because my dad's been in the hospital before. But for all of my mom's siblings to be there, they just started taking stuff out of my hand and hugging me. I'm like, hey, y'all, like, it's cool. Like, I'm about to go in there. I saw one of the nurses that was attending to my dad in March. She's like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, yeah, I didn't know. I'm like, oh, it's okay. Like, we'll get it figured out. And then she realized that I didn't know, so she just let it be. I get in the room. I knew. I knew my dad was dying. I knew. And all I wanted was, like, just one more moment. Everybody was surrounded around him, and I didn't get it. But when I saw him, I knew. And I stayed as strong as possible. I wasn't crying. I went over and I talked to him because I strongly feel like, God was talking me through this, because any normal person would break down. It's sad. But I couldn't, because I knew that these were some of the last moments I was going to have. And I had this voice say, take all of this in and really cherish this, because these are the last moments. And I don't know how I knew that. I don't know. I can't say it was you know, like God's actual voice, because I've heard that before and it wasn't, but I knew it was God. I knew it was God. And my dad ended up passing an hour after I arrived. If I could explain the wave of emotions, there's no explanation. I didn't know. And I know that it was probably best that it happened that way. Because I would have gotten there and I would have tried to fix it. I would have tried to fix it. And I would have tried to force my dad to get the surgery that he needed. But it wasn't going to help his quality of life afterwards. And there were too many things that could have gone wrong. And I would have tried to force it. So it's best that it happened that way. And the great thing that gives me peace is, my sister made the best decision that she could have ever. And the doctor asked my mom, and he was trying to force my mom and my sister to make the decision for my dad if he was going to get this surgery, because he had a knot like in his intestines, and they couldn't get it out, but they weren't sure what it was. There was a blockage. That's what it was. It was a blockage. They weren't sure if it was a knot or if it was something they could clear, if it was cancerous and blah blah blah. They told my mom, like, he could be on a colostomy bag. He might not make it, and we're gonna do everything we can. And it was too much. So my mom called my sister. My sister told the doctor, like, look, my dad is aware. He knows what's going on. And he's here. He's here. He's very much with us. So go ask him. And once he talked to my dad, he told my dad everything that could happen. My dad was like, no, He just knew that he didn't want to live like that. He knew he wouldn't want to be alive with a colostomy bag. He knew he wouldn't want to be alive to be even though it wouldn't be a burden, but a burden. My dad was independent. He lived a full life before he got sick. My man drove. He rode his bike. He lived a full life. You would never have known he was 82. And since that night, since those decisions have been made, and my dad made the decision not to get the surgery, he told the doctor by squeezing his hand 3 times, like, look, I'm not with this. And he went peacefully. But since then, I haven't been the same. And I'm getting back to me, but me is different. Me is not the same. Because when you lose a parent, you literally feel like half of you is gone. I felt it that day. I felt it. I didn't feel like all of me was here, physically on earth. My dad is always with me. And I know that. But I know he's gone. It is hard because, I knew he had my back. And I come from a family of, alpha women, strong, independent women. But my dad could be a quiet man at times, but he took up space. When he spoke, he was intentional, and he commanded, everyone to listen. And it's still hard having to speak about him in past tense, because I feel him with me. Not as strongly as I did when he first passed away. It's not the same. Of course, there's a siren outside, but it's not the same. But I think it's just because I'm getting stronger. And he knows I'm okay. You know? He knows I'm okay. So, since his since his passing, like within like the first day, I kept seeing numbers, like repeating numbers, angel numbers. I kept seeing them all. 1111, 444, 333, 555. Every time I looked at a clock, I would see consecutive numbers. Buildings I had never looked at before. Or no, buildings I had looked at before. I had seen 1,000 times. I never noticed their addresses. Consecutive numbers. And to this day, I still see them. Y'all, I'm probably killing y'all with this shirt. Don't worry, I'm gonna wash it. Mind your business. But yeah, I felt him. If you see older pictures of me, you can see that something is, I don't want to say missing, but you can see the pain that I was in. You can see the emptiness I felt. I see it, but it gave birth to growth. And it tapped into another level of strength I didn't even know I possessed. Sometimes you're not strong sometimes you don't know how strong you are until you have to be. And this year last year, 2019 has shown me that in so many ways. Like, yo, Des, like, you're unstoppable. There's so many things that I thought I could never go through. For my dad's 81st birthday, I kept feeling this strong push to throw him a birthday party, and I did. And I was so happy because he was happy. He doesn't like a whole bunch of fuss, that wasn't him. But when he was at this party, that was probably the happiest I had seen him in a very long time. Because he appreciated that. He loved being around people that he cared about. He just didn't make a fuss about much, but he enjoyed the company of others. And I know now why I felt such a push, because he was going to pass in his, or no, yeah, yeah, no, no, no. It was his, yes, yeah, it was his 81st birthday. Okay, I'm right. Because the 80th one I was slacking, and I had to do better, but I did better on the 81st. um, but I want people to know, like, with grieving, there's no one way to do it. I'm experiencing it differently than my sister is, than my mom is. We're all grieving three different ways. Than my brother is. We all have our things to deal with. And it's not easy. And some days I've just called people and just cried. And I thank you for everyone who was there. All of you who had the well wishes, and everyone who donated to my dad's GoFundMe, because it exceeded my expectations. Seriously. I didn't expect that. I didn't. I'm trying not to blow my nose in this shirt. Like, I'm really trying. But, it really exceeded my expectations, and I really appreciate every single person, because you didn't have to. But it was not only because, y'all care about me, my family, because you knew what my dad meant to me, or you had a personal relationship with my father, but you all felt it on your heart to donate, and that is so appreciated. I encourage everyone. I'm in the process of joining grief counseling, um, and I felt like that was best for me, just because I strongly believe in therapy. I have my degree in psychology, so you know, therapy is normal, and it's a thing that I feel like every adult should have, because you experience trauma at some point of your life, and being in the room with someone who matters so much to you while they're dying is traumatic. Regardless of what people say, like, yeah, death is a part of life, but there's nothing that can prepare you for that unless you experience it. And then when you experience it, you need help trying to get through the emotions, because the easiest way is to drink through it or smoke through it. And I couldn't do either because I knew that would spiral into something that I didn't want it to. So here we are. And I I'm in the process of, joining a grief group. The therapy is next. And I had a session to interview about the grief group, and that was like the first time I had really talked to someone about it, but it was freeing. And it was one of the most brave things I can say I've ever done, but I'm so happy that I did it. And yeah, yeah. I encourage you all to find what works for you. You know, I've also had like, I thank God I was already on a journey to strengthen my relationship with Him because there's no other way I made it through, y'all. There's literally no other way. Like, God has literally talked to me through this whole thing. And I want to thank, just the people who have supported me, friends, family. I can't even begin to name everybody because it, I got love from people that I didn't expect, and people who I didn't expect to be there were. Um, and I thank you all for that. So I say this to say, find what works for you. My sister joined a dance class. My mom went away for a retreat at church, and just different things work for different people. I know how important my faith is to me, so that is where it came in clutch for me. And I was already working on strengthening that, so it played a part. But whatever works for you, just don't be afraid to find that help. Um, I'm still going through it. Some days I'm really good. Most days, as of recently, I've been good. I can say that I've been really good. The holidays were hard, very hard, because last year was my last holiday, not only in New Jersey as a resident, but also with my dad. So, I just had those memories, and we're getting used to newness, and my mom is in a different place, that she's living. So we're not in the house I grew up anymore. So it's just a lot of change. But, without change, you can't create space for more things to come in. Um, there's no right way to do this. There isn't. There isn't. All I can say is just cry when you need to. Be frustrated when you need to. Be angry when you need to. Isolate when you need to. But come up out of it. You can't stay there forever. You know? And if you're not comfortable with like therapy per se, find someone else who has been through it. Talk to them. Find groups online. Find pages. There's so many outlets. I watched a couple of videos on YouTube as much as I could, because hearing other people talk about losing their parents is difficult for me too. But it made me feel normal. So there's tools out there. There are things that give people what they need. Um, my anxiety has been a little better. It was terrible today though. Waking up, I was like because I knew this video was coming. But I'm happy I did it. Um, I love you all. I'm back. I'm not editing this video like I said before. If you made it this far, thank you. I hope I helped someone. Comment below. Let me know if you've experienced this, if you're going through this, if, it helped. Share if you need to. I don't know. Right now I'm starting to have an out-of-body experience again. So that's another thing. It will start to feel like an out-of-body experience. Like you're physically present, but you're not here. So enjoy the wave. Not enjoy it. Ride the wave. Because there are some moments that suck. But ride the wave. Know God is with you. And you're not alone. There are many of us out here. There's a club. It's an unfortunate club, but it's a club, and we're strong. We'll make it. All right, that's 40 minutes. Thank you. Love, peace, hair grease. I'm not editing this, so that's just going to stay there. Happy New Year. Bye.